So Bob, are you, what, 54?
Yes.
Okay. How do I know that? Because my story starts in 71 too. I was 17 years old in 1971. I'm very nervous. The year before my mother passed away, we went to live with my aunt and uncle. They hadn't had teenagers for many years, and we were really cruel. They're wonderful people, we were wonderful kids, but we sure capitalized on their naivete. I waitressed in a coffee shop in a resort, and a friend of mine was an art student in college. I was in 11th grade, and a girl I worked with, and she said, "Hey, why don't you come over and visit me over Christmas break?" And I said, "Okay, I can do that." Saved my money. I had enough time through the summer and the fall. So I went, got the paperwork after, I couldn't be in the first year after my mother passed away. I couldn't just go at Christmas, so I waited a day or two. And before that, I went to my guidance counselor, gave him a piece of paper. He said, "What's this?" I said, "I need you to sign this." And he said, "What is it?" I said, "It's permission for me to be out of school for a month." And he said, "Why are you going to be out of school for a month?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to Rome." And he said, "Why are you going to Rome?" And I said, "To hang out with some college friends of mine." He said, "No, Roxanne, you can't go to Rome in your senior year and hang out with college kids, skip a month of school." And I said, "Mr. Kramer," he was the nicest man. I said, "Mr. Kramer, this is a deal, I'm going. It would be a whole lot easier for everybody if we call this an educational trip." He took the paper, signed the thing, and I went to Rome. I went with two ditzy college girls from Westchester University. I hope neither of them are here tonight. But I've never done giddy. I don't do giddy, I don't do silly, and I never watch cartoons. These girls giggled the whole time on the Alitalia flight to Rome. And so I got there, my friend's not a giggler, so I could survive this trip with her. She had some things she had to do, and she said, "Why don't you guys go to Rome while I do these things for school? Go to Naples." So we decided to go to Naples for a couple days. We go to Naples, we get off the train, and we're caught. We're caught by Tony. Tony has a big black Mercedes. And he said, in his broken English, that for the equivalent of $10, like 2 trillion lira or whatever, for the equivalent of $10 a piece, he would take us along the Amalfi Coast. We would stop at a cameo factory. We would go to Pompeii. He'd buy our lunch. We would go to, what was the third thing we did? Cameo factory. Oh, we'd go to Sorrento. He'd get us a pension. The next morning, we'd get a boat to the Isle of Capri. We'd go to the Blue Grotto, and then another boat back to Naples. And these giddy girls, and stupid giddy girls, were very, very excited about this. And I said, "Hello," this is 1971, and we had this back then too. I said, "Hello, have you ever heard of white slave trade?" And I said, "I'm not getting in that car." And they slid right in the back of that big black Mercedes. And I was standing there not knowing the language, not knowing anything. I slid in the back of the car too. This is when I don't want to tell this to young people because I never want anyone to do this. But he takes us to the cameo factory. I'm looking around for the connection. And no connection, he takes us out to lunch. We have a sandwich, and it was like an old wooden saloon. It looked like a Western saloon. He takes us to Pompeii, and I thought, this is it. This is where we meet the connection. And I couldn't enjoy anything. Pompeii was incredible. And so we do Pompeii, and now we go to Sorrento. Well, the Sorrento this pension is on the cliff in Sorrento on the Mediterranean. Very, very, very beautiful setting. We go in, the lady said, "I'll take your passports." Well, everything in me stopped. I thought, now I'm going to be without a passport. Now I'm really sunk here. And the girls hand their passports over, and I said, I'm not giving her my passport. And he said, well, then you're not staying here. And finally gave her my passport. That night, I was wide awake with my eyes open and telling myself, you are not dreaming, this is really happening. And the woman in the pension was coming down the hall. Now there's a door, there's a wall, there's a closed door. I don't know how I knew she was coming down the hall with a machete. And she's going to take care of us. And I had a choice between the balcony on the Mediterranean with rocks below or this woman and fighting her. And I knew the ditzy girls would get chopped up. I knew that they were, but I knew that I had a chance to escape. That I went back to sleep, and I literally lay there and thought, do I jump? Do I fight? I guess I fight, because I am surely going to die if I jump. And the next morning I woke up and had breakfast with this family, and they weren't the connection. I thought the connection has to be in Capri. Capri was a marvelous, marvelous place. The Blue Grotto was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And on the way back from Capri to Naples, I thought, how cool would it be to be stupid? How cool would it be to be that ditzy and be able to enjoy this whole time?